Hey, CJN podcast listeners, Michael Fraiman here, executive producer. I wanted to share that the CJN has earned 6 Simon Rock Hour Awards this month, the Jewish Pulitzers, as some folks call them. We took home awards for magazine writing and design, and for feature stories on a Holocaust music project, BDS on Canadian campuses, and 4 women who discovered they were sisters in their golden years, thanks to 23andMe. But we can't create award-winning journalism without your help. If you value independent Jewish journalism, please consider supporting us today at thecjn.ca/donate.
Menschwarmers, yeah, we used to be them bench warmers, but now you looking at the starting line. Swing, slap, shot, goal or bucket. Gabe and Jamie gonna talk about it, and you love it. It's the Menschwarmers, yeah, we used to.
Hey everybody, welcome to Menschwarmers. You just heard our new entrance music. Thank you to Kosha Dillz.
Wow. Yeah, Kosha Dillz. Cool. Wow, thank you. That's feels like we're sort of turning over a new page of the Megillah here, or opening a new Megillah.
I think it's been like 7 years with the old music.
Well, thanks again to Kobe, who provided our previous tunes. And welcome to the Menschwarmers family, Kosha Dillz. Maybe we'll have him on one day and discuss what his favorite pickle in New York City is.
Good point. I bet it's a kosher dill, or maybe a half sour. Maybe it goes off menu.
I'm a hot new guy.
Sure. Thanks everybody for joining us. We're the Menschwarmers. I'm Jamie. This is my co-host Gabe. Gabe, how you doing today? Keeping cool?
I'm keeping cool. The heat wave is sort of broken where we are in Toronto. I know it's, everybody's schwitzing like crazy all over North America and Europe, I guess all over the world. And I guess, and if it's any sort of cold comfort, pun intended, we only have this to look forward to every summer for the rest of our lives.
Sure.
And that is the way it's going to be.
Worse.
Maybe getting worse.
Who knows? Probably we will all need an increasing amount of hydration breaks of our own, as they have been taking at FIFA. And why don't we talk a little FIFA, Gabe? I mean, I know that we sort of introed it last episode and the Jewish angles on things, and not a ton. Matt Turner and the U.S. men's team.
There's been a few more Jewish angles since then, that's for sure.
Yeah, so like the actual Jewish elements are pretty limited, like Matt Turner of the U.S. men's team didn't get into any games, I don't believe. U.S. men's team was summarily dismissed by the first Western European team they played. There's the Andres Cantor continuing to do the calls in Spanish.
A living legend, and we've got sort of a story we want to quickly bring up that many people, I think, don't know about. I didn't know about it till we got a tip recently. But the penalty shootout, which you're seeing now in lots of different soccer games, as you know, in soccer, if there's no score or a tied score at the end of regular time, 90 minutes, 2 hours, 120 minutes, penalty kicks is what takes place. And sort of one thing we learned recently is that penalty kicks were actually invented from in the 1968 Olympics with a suggestion to FIFA from a soccer, I guess, influencer, no, a soccer coach in Israel in 1968.
Yeah, very cool. I was interested to learn that as well. I mean, I think, what are your thoughts? What are your feelings about the games ending in kicks? Because it seems like an unfair resolution, but of all the unfair resolutions, it might be the best one.
Yes. So I think so too. That what it actually came from was from Michael Almog and Yosef Dagan. Almog was the president of the Israeli Football Association, and Dagan was a coach in Israel in the 1968 Olympic quarterfinals. After 120 minutes, Mexico beat Israel on what was a coin flip. It used to be settled with a coin flip, and Dagan and Michael Almog wrote a letter to FIFA and said, we're going to try this. We're going to kick this, in August 1969, from the 1968 proposal. We are going to try penalty kicks instead of the shootout. In 1970, they accepted it, but it's actually something important to know that even in the acceptancy in 1970, FIFA said they are, quote, not entirely satisfied with the solution yet.
Nevertheless, it's persisted for 56 years since.
Exactly. For many, many, many years. And 1970 is sort of when it first really happened after the 1968 Olympics.
Well, it's a tough situation, but I mean, it's been around since that time. I don't know exactly when, but that FIFA moved to a sort of like traditional playoff bracket type system, like a tournament type system, because they used to just have like a final group and everyone would play each other. So there wasn't a need to resolve every game as something other than a tie. But like, flipping a coin is completely fair, right? It's 50-50.
It's 50-50.
It doesn't feel like a fair outcome that benefits the winner of the game. So very cool to see. Now, despite the fact that, no one is blaming Israelis for the outcome in penalty kicks. If your guys miss the net or,
we might be opening, if the wrong, I don't know, dare I say it, Egyptian soccer influencer, we'll get more onto that later, finds out that penalty kicks are an Israeli invention, might not go so well for the people.
But people are blaming Israel and Jews for outcomes in games that we and Israelis have nothing to do with whatsoever. I mean, most notably, I would say this has come up in the Argentina-Egypt game yesterday. I would say mainly from Egypt supporters and people
even the Egyptian coach. So there is who for the story
and multiple things that we have seen online now. One, there's the officiating of that game was controversial, I think, to say the least.
So let's give
goal taken back.
There's a little example is that there were 2 goals, one for Egypt, one for Argentina. The Egyptian goal was called back because there was a foul earlier in the play. The Argentina game had a similar incident, but it was not called back for a foul in a very similar play. The referee was a French man named Francois Letessier. This comes important later. He's a elite referee. He's, been a successful referee. He is a trained lawyer. He is a tenancy lawyer, which I think is very funny. This is a hobby, as you know. Most referees have day jobs. But he sort of got some controversy in that people are saying the game was rigged, and the manager harshly criticized Letessier, claiming he displayed favoritism towards Argentina. To make it worse, what are people saying about Francois, Jamie?
Well, someone, I guess, vandalized his Wikipedia page yesterday. And, it's sort of funny. Like, for most people who are not, of note enough to have a Wikipedia page, but not significantly, not significant public figures, if you look in their history of their Wikipedia page, you'll see like 1 or 2 edits a year. It might be something small. They get written up in some article. But like, if you look at Francois Letessier's Wikipedia page from yesterday, there were like dozens and dozens of edits all at once. And somebody vandalized his Wikipedia page to say he was born into an Orthodox Jewish family. His grandfather fled Nazi persecution in the 1940s and fought along the French Free Forces led by Charles de Gaulle. I don't know if that part's true. Based on his name, it would seem odd if he was not, if it was paternal side of the family, at least, was not French or perhaps Belgian. But there's no evidence we have whatsoever to suggest that he is actually Jewish. Or Zionist, or has any connection or any thoughts on anything. I mean, he's a referee. He's paid to ref soccer.
And exactly. And to make it even worse, and I know there's lots of problems in here, people are saying that he's a Zionist, which you don't know anything about him. There's one reason we think this is that there were some Argentinian fans waving Israeli flags, and the Egyptian team...
There was at least one Israeli fan, Argentine, waving an Israeli flag at the Egyptian coach, and he seemed to have take umbrage at that.
Take umbrage to it, as he has been waving a Palestinian flag throughout the last few weeks. To make it worse, Grok, there's a bunch of tweets of Grok, quote unquote, confirming that Francois Letessier was born into an Orthodox Jewish family, which is a problem because we are the experts on this, and we do not believe it is true.
I mean, it wouldn't take that much.
It wouldn't take that much.
It wouldn't take that much fact checking just to say his name is Francois Letessier. He's from Brittany, where, I mean, maybe there's a synagogue in Rennes, but I don't know. There's not a lot of Jews in that part of France. And, there's no other evidence. There's no confirming evidence to say that that has anything to do with anything. Notwithstanding the fact that there's no reason to believe, I wouldn't think there's any reason to believe that the religion of a referee is going to influence the way they referee. Especially if they're well regarded and otherwise, thought of as being an impartial observer. That's sort of the whole goal. And this sort of like again, like this is sort of the thing about, you know, a lie can go around the world before the truth is finished putting its pants on. The Grok confirmation, the tweet that alleges, you know, this guy's a Zionist. That's why he rooted against, or that's why he conspired against Egypt. That has like 7,000 likes, got 2,000 retweets right now. Obviously, there's no rebuttal to this that has any sort of staying power, or that has any. No one's apologizing for this and saying, "Oh, I guess Wikipedia is not a valid source," when it's been edited a million times and taken off and not properly cited in the first place. And this has been coupled with people just sort of piling on Argentina as, I guess, part of a global Zionist conspiracy, and Lionel Messi as the sort of head of that conspiracy as well, mostly because of a 2015 trip he made to both Israel and Palestine.
A lot of people are showing this photo of Messi wearing a kippah at the Western Wall, which maybe that's when we converted him or sort of, you know, indoctrinated him into it. I will point out one interesting thing about Francois, our friend Francois. If he is Jewish, he also was the referee for the Euro final, which Spain won. So if allegedly he's got an anti-Egyptian bias because of reasons, because he's Jewish, wouldn't he also have a bias against Spain, which won the game? You'd think so. You know, I want to take an inquisition to figure that out, pun intended.
Anyways, this is all becoming incredibly dumb. People think Messi, who is, as far as I know, a practicing or at least a vowed Catholic.
I believe he has a giant cross tattooed on himself.
Yeah, you know, crosses. I've seen him cross himself on the soccer pitch. But you know, we didn't know this. It turns out, you know, again, the haters are saying Messi's Jewish, so we have no choice as Jews to support him. We're not front running bandwagoners. Yeah. We have no choice but to support Argentina and Messi, the defending champions. I think we have to go back and celebrate.
Player of all time.
Yeah, exactly. We got him. So, you know, people want to disavow him or try to slag him for saying he's Jewish. We'll just say, okay, fine.
That's good news for this podcast. We'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. We'll take it. So I'm sorry that the games are being fixed against Egypt. I would think even if that were happening, that would be like pretty low down on the FIFA corruption list.
Yes.
Or list of priorities.
Earlier in this World Cup, in this week, we had, you know, a corruption and match, not fixing, but sort of suspension fixing scandal. Yeah, I wonder why, if there's any reason why FIFA would actually want to corrupt against Egypt, other than the global, you know, Jewish conspiracy, of course. Mm-hmm. Baby Johnny wants to create peace between Israel and Palestine himself. Therefore, Egypt cannot beat Argentina.
And we've spurred him on. We encourage him to do it. Our producer Michael mentioned that one of the most popular articles on the CJN's website this week has been a 2016 article about Messi donating some cleats to a charity in Egypt, which apparently caused some affront in Egypt, as you know, shoes have a symbolic place in the Muslim world, or maybe that's not fair, in the Arabic world at least. And it was a mini controversy in Egypt, and that page has been visited multiple times this week, or many times by people, I don't know, researching Messi's connection with Egypt and all that. So you're really funny to be like the greatest of all time, and it's just like, no matter what happens, like they're gonna come at you.
People are gonna say insane things about you.
Yeah. And now you're the victim of anti-Semitism, even though you're not Jewish, Messi. You're one of us.
Welcome to the family. Yeah. Welcome to How Goes It On. It's interesting that, you know, Egyptian soccer officials, in specifically of this, Egyptian MP specifically says, I know he's Jewish.
Yeah, that's right.
He doesn't need to give any of this stuff.
Again, it's there's a spiritual Zionism to Argentina now that is, if you believe in certain things or you're on the other side, then, you know, it's painting them with the worst possible brush. So, you know, again, Jews, cheer them on. What are we going to do? You know, people are going to freak out when they find out what Bellingham on England's first name means in many languages.
Oh yeah, if we get we're on the path to a Israeli, to an English versus Argentina semifinal. So you would have someone named Jude against someone who people believe is Jewish for some reason because he's part of the Zionist conspiracy, despite his tattoo, by the way, which is of a weeping Jesus with a crown of thorns and rosary going all the way down his left arm.
You know, that Jesus I don't know if you know this, Gabe, but he was Jewish too.
Whoa, this
So
thing goes all the way to the top.
It goes all the way to the top.
It goes all the way to the top. But that's enough of the fast kicking, low scoring, and ties. That we've been discussing here.
It's mid-July. There's not much else going on in the sports calendar. NBA free agency notwithstanding. But it's a good time to check in on baseball. We're about halfway through the season. The All-Star game is coming up shortly. And of note, there is a Jewish All-Star this year for the third year in a row.
And he had a pretty big day today.
Yeah. And we're talking, of course, about Toronto Blue Jay Dylan Cease, who had a no-hitter today going into the ninth. He lost it. The first batter in the ninth got a weak single to center field, and he was taken out, but unbelievable game on what's been a really solid season for Dylan. He is, I believe, a quarter Jewish. I think his paternal grandfather is Jewish. But
his dad's family is Jewish, is what he says.
His dad's family is Jewish, yeah. He was on the list to play for Team Israel once upon a time at a previous WBC. Didn't end up doing it. I don't think he's played for America either. So, just been working on things during WBC times. Obviously, it would be great to see him lace it up for Israel at some point in the future. But either way, excited to see him in the All-Star game. I don't know if he'll get in or not.
I think so. I think he'll
give him
get
a few
in.
pitches kind of thing.
Exactly.
And a hell of a game he had today.
A hell of a game. He says he didn't even know that it was happening. He didn't know how many strikeouts he had. He was just pitching and in the zone. So good for him.
Yeah. In other Jewish baseball news, Dean Kramer came back. He's been on the injured list for a while, but threw his first game last week for the Baltimore Orioles, and it was a pretty good one. He had been, I can't remember, I think it was his elbow that was keeping him off mostly, but he came back and pitched on July 1st. And had one earned run over 6 innings. Hasn't gotten into a game yet. I assume they're just sort of easing him back in. But good to see him. He's someone who's struggled this year with injuries and was initially left off the Orioles roster. But if they are going to, I don't know if they're going to turn things around or not. It's possible he could be someone who's moved.
He could be a big part of it. He's off to a pretty good start. Or was off to a pretty good start. He's right now got an ERA sort of in the low threes after 3 games.
Yeah, only a few games that he's gotten into, and I think he is. I think he's maybe got 1 RBI left because he's optionable. Like he was able to be sent down even though he's 30 years old. But so as a cheap player, like it wouldn't be shocking if somebody wanted him
to pick him up at the trade deadline. Absolutely,
pick him up at the trade deadline, especially if Baltimore is going to end up selling. So. We'll keep an eye on that, especially monitoring his health, I suppose. He could and seeing.
We're not fans, but he could do a lot for the Yankees. He really could this year. Both emotionally and pitching. They could always use bullpen arms.
Absolutely.
And the first guy out of the bullpen, he would do great at.
Yeah. Speaking of Max Fried, he has been out for almost 2 months now. I mean, he's been out since mid-May. I think it's bone bruise. But I guess just ongoing issues that are hurting him. They said that he's going to be taking live batting practice coming up soon.
So is that is that just he basically plays catch with the catcher and somebody hits?
He exactly. He throws. He doesn't have to throw hard, but he's throwing balls over the plate. I guess the first. I'm sure he's done some throwing already. But that would be the first step before a simulated game, I guess, and then a rehab start or two. So I don't know, there's no timeline yet. I think it's probably end of July, probably at the earliest. But I mean, this might be the strategy now. The Dodgers did this last year, where it's just like, don't tax your pitchers too much during the year, still field a competitive team, and then have guys ready to go, sort of peaking in September and October and be at their height. So the Yankees are looking to be a playoff team this year. Certainly, they've had some struggles recently, but it seems likely they'll be a wild card team at best. And Max Fried is, a guy you could set out there and say, "Go win us a game," and he can't. So
absolutely,
looking forward to seeing Max back. Obviously, not an all-star year for him, given the injuries, but again, he can compete at an all-star level as soon as he is healthy. I think they're not going to rush him back, but he's going to be solid. Looking at the other side of the plate, Alex Bregman's really turned things around recently. He has, increased his average to 240, but he's hitting a fair amount of doubles and home runs, really contributing to the Cubs now in a solid way. I mean, they're paying him a huge amount of money, so they're going to need production from him to justify the $30 million a year they're giving him.
He's still sort of unfortunately been a little below average on the year, but his last couple of weeks he's really picked it up. He is, even if he finishes this season, he'll be a better than average major league player. Even though he's slightly below right now, but he's still valuable in a whole bunch of other ways. His defense is still good. He's still hitting for average a little bit. He's just got to he's still getting on base a whole lot. Just the power isn't there, but it will be soon.
Yeah. Jock Peterson is having a surprise resurgent year. He's got 14 home runs for the Rangers. Pretty much, worked himself into a more or less everyday role.
And he leads off a lot of days, which is pretty exciting too.
Yeah, and mostly DHing. He's 34 years old now, moving towards the end of his career. I don't think he's been in the field much this year, but can still play first base, play right field if necessary. But as a primary DH, you want someone who's got some slug, who can get on base, which is really critical. And he's doing that. He's got a 333 OBP. Which again, one of every 3 times he's getting on base, and sometimes he's doing some real damage with the bat, is really huge. So, I love seeing guys who are quintessentially like solid major leaguers have long careers. It seems because they're glue guys. Jock Peterson, I think, has really been an example of that.
Well, speaking of which, and probably someone who's going to get there, he is unfortunately currently on the DL, but Spencer Horwitz was having a really terrific season. OPS of 850, 10 home runs, getting on base 38% of the time, hitting really, really, really well. But for about 2 weeks now, he's been on the IL. He's putting together a good career. He's still only 28. He's had 4 good years in the major league, turned into a really nice player.
Yeah.
And was off to a great year, having some really spectacular bat flips lately with a lot of leadoff home run hitters too. But now, unfortunately, he's on the IL. But speaking of resurgence, similar back from Jock Peterson, since he got called up from the minors earlier this season, Zach Geloff has had a really terrific first 65 games of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't since we last spoke. He had a 24-game hit streak, which was a hell of a thing to do. Unfortunately, it ended I think at the end of June because he got injured. Which is really a shame. Like, he had 1 at bat. I think he got injured on that first at bat,
and he came back and has a hit in all 3 games he's been back since. Right, which is pretty remarkable. He did strike out 4 times. That is still a problem he has. That said, he's getting on base 33% of the time. He's got an OPS of 820. He's got 2 wins. He's been with 2 WAR in only 60 games, which is pretty. And really just all-star level. That's good.
And really
stuff.
just a freak injury, because his hand got stepped on right when he was fielding. So crazy thing to happen. One other guy I wanted to mention before we go. This is not someone we've talked about before. He is a rookie. He is playing for the Rockies. His name is Cole Carrigg. I believe his dad's side of the family is Jewish. I know he played for Team Israel in the WBC this year. He was called up, I think, towards the end of May. He's only gotten to 26 games so far.
Boy, is he hitting.
Boy, is he hitting. He's hitting 318, which, okay, it's Colorado, and that leads to some inflation. But he had a walk-off against the Dodgers the other day. He has hit a bunch of home runs. He's got 3 triples already, which, again, it's Coors Field, and that means you get to hit triples sometimes. But he's hitting. He's definitely hitting. So
really, really is. And even if you right now, he was in Double-A. I think he started last season, 2025, at Double-A, and has worked his way up really, really quickly over the last 2 years. Started the season at Triple-A and came up after 50 games because he was hitting 340. So they really couldn't keep him down. He's only 24. He got drafted 3 years ago. He's got a chance, man. This kid so far, he looks terrific.
And I think from what I've seen, he can play a pretty decent center field. I don't know if he sticks there forever, but being able to provide power from a corner outfield position means you can play baseball for a long time. So really excited to see more from him. It's too bad they don't do like a rookie game as part of the All-Star game. I think that would be a lot of fun.
I think that would be really good. I also think, he's a Cape Cod League. He's a Yarmouth Dennis alumni, similar
right.
as is, friend of the podcast. I believe he used to be a YD coach, Nate Fish. So maybe they know each other through that too. But I think we need to have, post year or like several years from now, Cape Cod League's, 05 All-Star team and so on and so forth. Like, 2022, there's a few major leaguers. He played on a team with Chase Meadroff and Braden Montgomery, both of whom are in the majors for the White Sox this year.
Right.
So it's and rookies for the White Sox this year. So it's entirely possible that, those teams are, or I should say, Meadroff was a rookie last year, but he comes from a good pedigree and has played on a lot of great teams in his career. He could be really good.
Yeah, it's always hard to tell with guys on the Rockies because it's just like the park effect is so significant. Like, I guess looking at their like road numbers is probably the best way to do it and like see what their true numbers would be. But the whatever the WAR stats type stats that sort of league adjust wins weighted runs created plus and stuff like that do adjust for ballpark and stuff like that. And we can see that
and
he's really contributing for
things. Absolutely.
Unfortunately, what does seem to be and may well be forever a bad Rockies team. So I mean, it's sort of sad. It doesn't have to be this way, Colorado. You can be a good team. You just have to, I don't know, convince pitchers to come. Just only draft pitchers for like 5 years and you'd get some decent ones. Moving on from baseball, Gabe, I wanted to give a shout out to a really solid finish from Max Homa at the John Deere Classic the other day.
It's been a while. It's his best finish in 3 seasons, I think. Yeah,
well, since he last won, I mean, obviously second is as good as you can do before aside from winning. Tied second, 1 stroke back is the best you can do. And that's what he had. So
without winning. The best you could do without winning.
The best you can do without
winning.
No
one lost ahead of him.
No one lost ahead of him, exactly. No one even tied for losing as well as he did. And it's been a while, and it's been a rocky road back. He did have a third place finish, I think, at some point last year or maybe 2 years ago. But it's been a few misses and things like that. He had a decent run at the Canadian Open and looked like he might challenge for a bit. Ended up finished 20th, but solo second, 1 stroke back, moved up to 73rd in the world. Just has to have a few more good showings to make the FedEx Cup playoffs and have a decent chance of securing a spot in all the majors and all of the signature events for next year. Although I guess it's different because the 2-tier structure of the I refuse to pay attention to this until they finalize everything.
Depends how he does in the playoffs this year to see what I guess there's 2 years until we find out exactly which one he'll be in, but TBD to find out, right?
Max is I think he's qualified for the Open Championship now.
It is actually his performance at the John Deere that got him into the Open Championship.
Oh wow,
his world ranking was enough that he got his invite.
Well, that's great. Daniel Berger's playing, Max Grazerman's playing. One other guy whose name I saw, Lev Grinberg. He's an 18-year-old amateur. He is originally from Ukraine and now plays in France. I don't know if he's Jewish, but his name is Lev Grinberg. And
he also
it would be sort of shocking if he was not.
Yeah, we don't do a lot of phrenology here. His Instagram is Levski10. And he did, Levski is a big one. He has his own website. So, we don't know, but that would be pretty cool if we have a new Jewish golf teen coming up.
Looks like he's going to Arkansas to play, and he's playing as an amateur right now. I don't know much about him, but keep him on your periphery, and who knows, maybe he'll make a run at the Open.
Little Levski, maybe Levski will.
Only 18 years old, so again, this is real. This could be it could be 10 years before he's playing on the PGA Tour, but who knows? He qualified for the Open Championship, I assume by virtue of some success at a lower level amateur.
Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe at one of the qualifying, but good for him.
And we'll find out. We'll find out if he's Jewish. We'll get back to you and we'll know. Lev Grinberg.
Yeah, the name. You gotta assume that's Jewish. Before we go, wanted to say a fond farewell, I suppose, to Larry Tannenbaum, who
he's not dead. Don't worry, he's not dead.
Larry is not dead. He is, hale and hearty as far as we know. But his company, Kilmer Group, sold its stake in Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment to Rogers. He had been sort of instrumental especially in bringing the Raptors to Toronto. He had been the governor, he had been part of the NBA's governing board.
He's a big macher in all North American sports, really.
Yeah.
Huge.
But especially in owning a portion of the Leafs and the Raptors. I think we noted with interest when he picked up the Larry O'Brien trophy after the Raptors 2019 victory and lifted it like a Torah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yelling Klagba was pretty cool. He had said he was going to take the Raptors on a trip to Israel in the offseason, but I don't think it ever materialized, which is too bad. Maybe Kawhi would have stayed and we could have put this dark 7 years
behind us if any of that happened.
If only that had happened. But yeah, Larry is divested from sports. I mean, I think he will remain involved.
He still owns the Toronto Tempo and has made an investment in the PWHL, but he's divested from the MLSE. Kilmer Sports still exists.
That's right. He said in his letter, a farewell letter, he said, "I look forward to joining you all as a lifelong fan." So, must be. I'm sure it'd be nice to no longer have to have no longer have to deal with the ups and downs of the team, except as a fan. I don't know if he's not stepping away from his involvement in some other ways, but the ownership is gone. And I think, again, like, he'd been a very public, very important owner for a long time. Again, really the through line, I think, for much of the Raptors' existence, has been Larry. So,
absolutely. And
again,
now
Yasher Koch to him.
A huge congratulations, as you said. And I was at a Toronto Tempo game this weekend, owned by Larry, as you said, but saw a very good, pretty exciting, moment. We had a rare appearance from Jewish WNBA player Alysha Clark. Unfortunately, becoming more and more rare. She was the 6th player of the year 3 years ago, but is now very much in a backup role, playing about 8 minutes a game for Dallas. But it was cool to see her in person. Never saw her.
Cool. Very cool. Glad you're getting into Tempo games. I'm sure that's a lot of fun.
I am. It's a blast.
Seems like the whole city is really excited about the Tempo this year.
You know what it is? It's always fun to go with something in the first year. They got truly, crunched in the game we went to, but it was still really cool and fun to see, and be part of when the fans were really excited about the team. We're still in the honeymoon phase, and I think we'll continue to be at least until next year.
That's how I felt being a Golden Knights fan the first year in existence, making the Stanley Cup Finals.
And they're still around 500. Like, they might make it. They really could.
The Tempo.
Yeah, the Tempo. They're doing pretty good, and you never know. You really never know.
That's great.
They're playing great.
As long as they're not rushing or dragging.
No, they're not.
That's my Tempo.
They do have a chance to make the playoffs, which would be exciting to see. No Jewish players that we know of on the Tempo. But maybe if they win, we might get some new players. You might get a Toby Fournier in a year or two getting drafted onto the Tempo. Okay.
That's it for us this week. Before we go, we wanted to give a shout out to everyone in Israel competing in the Maccabi Games. Canada was not able to send a delegation this time around. I think our coverage of it has probably declined a little bit because of that. But good luck to everyone who's out there. I've been seeing some great content online from people who are participating in the golf and some of the other sports. So we wish everyone well, of course, and have a safe and productive games out there. As always, we're brought to you by the Canadian Jewish News. You can find our podcasts, articles, everything else on the Canadian Jewish News website, thecjn.ca. We're produced by Michael Fraiman. Please like and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get it. And, tell your nieces and nephews about us. We're covering every sport, every angle. Every Jewish angle we got, we're on it.
We're on it. We're going to keep going. We're going to find out about Lev Grinberg. If we find out somehow the Egyptian anti-Semites are right and that French referee is Jewish, we'll be the first to say it. We still don't think that means he supports Argentina. He's bad at his job. But we will find out for you.
And follow us on Twitter at Menschwarmers for pithy Jewish sports content and occasional home run highlight when Jock Peterson's around. Thanks for listening. We'll be back with you. We'll be back with you soon.
Menschwarmers, come on. Menschwarmers. Say it with me. It's the Menschwarmers. Get your pickles.